Oh, there, I'm Guildmaster Dan, and welcome to the Fourth Wall. Now, in the past, I've been a proponent of not being afraid of asking players to leave your game because there's always more players out there. And, well, that's easy to say for game masters that have large gaming communities in which to go and seek players from. But if you don't have that gaming community support, where do you find those players to add to your game? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So, you're looking to start up a new game, or you've lost some players and you're looking to add some new ones to your current game. Where do you go to find those players if you don't have that large gaming community around you? Well, there are places you can go to, but before we get into it, I'd like to encourage all the game masters out there to keep an open mind. Because there's lots of different types of games out there, and I don't mean different game systems or different genres. I mean different types of groups that get together in different ways. Most people probably prefer to get together once a week and meet face to face to play the game, and I generally find that to be the most enjoyable experience. But there are lots of games out there, lots of groups that have great games that only meet maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month. And the games are just as engaging, it's just they have busy lives and aren't able to make it every week. Well, that's a great alternative to that. And also, some of these avenues you can go to find players will have you finding players that are interested in playing in your game that live in another state or possibly even another country. Well, keep an open mind. There's lots of games out there that go on online that are just as enjoyable. There's lots of great resources to make it just as engaging and just as mechanically appropriate as playing the game face to face. You can play games over Skype or over Google Hangouts. There's great games to do that. There's actually great examples of those games on YouTube for you to look at. Now, since most people seem to prefer that once every week meeting face to face sort of game, it's probably best to start with gamers that you or players that you can find in your local area. The first place that I would recommend looking is, well, with your current friends, even if they're non gamers. Now, keep in mind, I did a whole episode on introducing role playing games to non gamers. It was my first episode. By all means, check it out. You know, approach your friends that might not be gamers and let them know, hey, me and some friends, or I'd like to get some friends together once a week to sit down and play a game. It's a lot of fun, and I know you haven't played it before, but it's really easy to pick up, and once you get into it, it's a whole lot of fun. Introduce them to the game, and you can actually have a really good opportunity there in that not only are you gaining a player, but you actually have the opportunity as the game master to coach them into what it means to be a good player and how you have fun at playing role playing games and just all the great things that come out of being gaming. Plus, ultimately, you're sharing something that you enjoy with someone whose company you enjoy, and generally, it can be a very it that can be a very good source of players for your game is taking non gamers and introducing them to role playing games. Now, if you're going to do that, be aware of what sort of adventure you're going to run. Don't be running something high level or something really off the wall. Really get down to basics if you're going to be introducing non gamers, or if you're adding them to your current group, you may want to make it easier for them, give them a nice transition in. Like I said, rewatch my first episode, and that'll have some great suggestions along that route. The next place you're going to want to look at are your local geek hotspots, your hobby shops, your comic stores, your gaming stores, your libraries, and your recreation center. Any place where geeks frequent in your local area. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to approach the owner of these different shops and ask if it's okay for you to display a flyer. A flyer with your information and what sort of game you're running is a great way for you to get your name out there to other gamers in your community that you might not have met. There are lots of stories out there of gamers who have been in a community and gaming for years and have never met any other gamers outside of their local group just by chance, because there are a lot of communities out there don't have a means for gamers to get together, don't really have a big gaming scene, because no one's really networked at all. Well, that's a great way to get your name out there to those gamers that you haven't met, to let them know that A, there are other gamers in the community, and B, hey, I got spots open in my game. You want to shoot me an email? Maybe we can hang out. Great way to find new gamers. If not, similar to my last suggestion, you can always talk to those owners about setting up a gaming group in the shop or in the library, introducing people to the games. Shop owners that sell games, that's a great way to bring in revenue. And for, say, libraries, that's a great that's a great club activity that they can have there in one of their meeting rooms. And in that vein of gamers in a community that have never met each other because they've never found an opportunity to network from outside their personal group of friends, there's a great website out there that also works great in finding new players, in Meetup.com. It's this great website that you can go on and search for groups of people with like interests to you in your local area or in your surrounding area. And that's a great place to go on and search for gaming clubs, gaming groups, and just general groups that have similar interests. And once you find one of those groups, so long as it's within an acceptable distance away, that's a great place to post events such as your weekly game or your monthly game, and as well as to post on their forums seeking players. Essentially, it gets you networking with those gamers out there that you haven't met yet. From there, there's another great website that you can go to find gaming groups that are rife with players for you to find. And this website is one that I can almost guarantee you've already been to and are very familiar with. Facebook is a great tool for finding players. And I don't just mean using it to talk to your non-gaming friends of your many on your big friends list. No, there are lots of groups on Facebook dedicated to gaming, and that's a great place to join them and to find players. Further, the players that you find on there, they're probably going to be out of state or far enough away that meeting face-to-face might not be feasible. But again, as long as you're open-minded about playing online, a play-by-post or a play-on-Skype game would be perfect for that. And on top of that, if you don't find players, those groups are a great place for you to post your ideas about gaming and get feedback. One last online resource I want to recommend for finding players is don't count out the forums for the games themselves. Forums, the actual gaming forums are a place where the most interested people in a game really meet up to talk. Like, if you've ever really been interested in how a game works and just generally how it was made and how it can be tweaked, forums for the game are a great place to actually meet the other people that are that obsessed or that interested in the game. I find that forums of larger games such as Dungeons and Dragons tend to be more varied, have more casual people on there, but more close-knit communities around a game, say like Call of Cthulhu or Mutants and Masterminds. A lot of the people that go onto those forums are the ones that they're really interested. They love that game. They love that game specifically beyond just gaming, and they would almost jump at the opportunity to play in a game. That's a great place to find people who are interested in playing in online games, especially since they're going to be from all over. Let's say you tried these other options that I recommended, and maybe you don't have too much luck or you feel they're running too slow. Well, there is still one place you can go that is pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get your dose of gaming in. And that place is a convention. Gaming conventions are fantastic in that they're a great opportunity to run whatever game you want to run, or hop into games you've never played before. Just find gamers out there that like the same game or like similar games to you, that have a similar way of thinking. There are tons and tons of gaming conventions with tons and tons of different gamers attending them and running events. You could be one of those events. And on top of that, typically when you run events at conventions, you get a discount on your tickets to get into the convention itself. So it's a great opportunity for you to meet players and to get your gaming in if you otherwise are not able to. There's lots of websites out there that you can go to that'll show your local cons in your state or in your general area. Try out those cons. Gaming cons are a great way to get in that dose of gaming when you otherwise don't get to. Or if you do get to game often, that's a great way to explore other games that you haven't tried before. On top of that, when you go to those conventions, great place to network. Make yourself up some contact cards. Have your name and email and whatnot on them, and as you're playing with as you're just playing with other gamers, and you find ones that you connect more with, give them one of your cards and let them know that you're interested in running a game, and feel free to shoot you an email if they're interested in maybe doing an online game, or if they're not that far away from you, making a little bit of a drive to make a face-to-face game, whether they can make it once a week or once a month. The point is that there are lots of places out there that you can find players to join your game. You just want to keep open-minded in order to make some players out there a little bit more receptive to joining you. Be willing to invite non-gamers or do an online game session, or, maybe meet a little bit less frequently than you would normally prefer. But, there's also other places you can go to find gamers out there, and there are other suggestions to be had here. If you do have one such suggestion, or if you disagreed with something I just said, please feel free to leave a comment below. Please like, share, and subscribe so that we can keep the conversation going. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.